Tuesday morning, the 16th of June. Mike Barrett joining us, as he does, at 8:35 while we still social distance. Mike calling in. Mike and his wife together own and operate Barrett Insurance Agency, Portland Street, St. Jay. Mike, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. You know, it's always fun to have you here. You and I have known each other for years and years. And for a little bit over a year now, I think if math serves me right, you've been educating us on good insurance policies. Good advice.
Trying to.
Yeah. Well, it's a very complex industry out there.
Yeah, it definitely is. And, there's always moving parts here. There's always things that, remember, there's many, many reasons why we as insurance agents exist, and that's because we live, eat, sleep, and breathe this thing. And so we're your resource to really help guide you through the process and the complexities to the best of our abilities so that you understand what you're getting and how you're getting it. There's a pretty vital role there. And, as we start looking at the summer season, you mentioned as we're on the phone before we went on the air, campgrounds are getting ready to open up to a more full capacity, and summer season is going to start showing some light, hopefully. Hopefully it can continue that way. And, when that happens, it's time to kind of have a little bit of an insurance shift, if you will. People get in the mindset of, ooh, there's a boat for sale, I'll buy it, or there's a jet ski for sale, let's get that, or, I've always wanted a camper. There's a million and one things that can happen in your life that are going to present themselves. And, those situations present a need for insurance, too. When you think about being on the water with a jet ski or what they call a personal watercraft or a boat, in Vermont, and I believe it's the same in New Hampshire, I don't believe there's a compulsory reason to have insurance for liability. Don't let that sway you. Get it. You should absolutely always, anytime you're in any kind of a vehicle, have liability coverage. So if you're getting a boat or a personal watercraft, get out there and take a look at some options for insurance. Boat insurance is very inexpensive. It provides you liability coverage. Now, kind of similar to snowmobiles and ATVs, you do have that option to put the boat on your homeowner policy. We do advise against that. And the reason being is the same reason we advise against it for snowmobiles and ATVs is the second that you put it on your homeowner policy, sure, you've got liability if you injure others, but you have no coverage for yourself if somebody injures you with either no insurance or not enough insurance. So a specific boat policy will definitely cover that. It's going to be very similar coverage to what you'd find on an auto policy where you have liability, uninsured motorist protection if you are hit by another boater with no insurance or not enough. Also medical payments to others, which would be fantastic for you and any occupant of that boat, regardless of how an accident occurs. You could have immediate funds to help you with medical attention. Medical payments start at $1,000, work their way up to $25,000 in many cases. And, of course, let's talk about physical damage for the hull. You want to make sure you get coverage for that boat. Many companies have started offering some kind of breakdown coverage, too. So there's some pretty cool options if you do a little digging and get some quoting done to really help you. And you will be surprised. It's not that expensive. Now, remember, these types of rates are determined based on average use and how long are you really using a boat here in the Northeast. So it's not like you're using it year-round. So something to think about there. And then with the campgrounds, think about getting a specific camper policy for your motorhome or your tow-behind camper, fifth wheel, whatever you may have. Again, optimal coverage really comes from doing it that way versus just having it on your regular auto policy. Vacation liability, if somebody was to become injured inside the camper or the motorhome, that's something that you would not have if it was just on your auto insurance. So there's ways to optimize and dial that in, and believe it or not, price point is pretty darn good. At some point, I've actually seen it only cost a few dollars more a year than just putting it on your own auto policy with what I would consider some fairly limited coverage.
Mike, I have a question for you here. 3-4 weeks back, and actually for a stretch there, we were talking about how some of the insurance companies out there in the auto industry were offering their clients discounts. Is that still going on?
So the time period for that's just about phased out. Now, companies primarily were doing the discount, which ranged from 15 to 25%, depending on which company you're with. And the time frame was April and May with most companies. Some companies did April, May, and a part of June. Some companies are doing April, May, and June. So certainly by the end of this month, that will be gone. And it's really turned into just a percentage decrease in your monthly costs. With the statistical data widely available, that the claims loss ratios for the months of April, May, and feasibly June, because of the stay home, stay safe across the country, people are not driving as much, so the exposure of claims is much less than it would be otherwise, and that's what prompted it. But that will be going away, and I would say that your last credit, if you haven't got them all already, would probably show up in the early part of July for some people.
Folks, with us is Mike Barrett from Barrett Insurance Agency, Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. Mike, my girlfriend works in the insurance industry, and her building, the group itself that owns the company, has decided to stay closed. And some of our listeners may not know that you guys are open, but first let me clarify. They're still closed for the time being because of coronavirus. They just haven't announced an open time. But you guys are now doing business in person, right?
We are. We started that the Tuesday after Memorial Day, and we're a very interesting office dynamic. You figure there's 4 of us here, and 75% of us are blood related. We've got myself and my wife. I shouldn't say blood related because I'm not blood related to anybody because I'm an in-law, but myself and my wife's mother, so my mother-in-law work here, and then we have Anita who's non-related, but we have plenty of spacing, so we're able to adhere to the 6-foot rule. We have masks on for when people do come in because at that point we can't maintain necessarily that 6-foot spacing, so we have masks for our protection and their protection, plus we encourage people to wear masks as well. And then this summer we hired a blood relative, actually. My nephew is working here this summer. He's between his junior and senior year in college and wanted to see what this business was all about. So he's making my coffee in a few minutes, and we got him on staff for the summertime.
Well, I had to make my own coffee before I came in this morning, so you've one-upped us. Mike, as we wrap things up here, first off, it's always great to have you here with us, sharing all of your knowledge in the insurance industry. But tell our listeners how they can get in touch with you, okay?
Sure. And you can give us a call, 748-5224. We're physically located on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury, 309 Portland Street to be exact. You can go online and get a free, no-obligation quote for home and auto on our website, thebarrettagency.com. Plus, you'll find us on Google, Facebook, and YouTube, Barrett Insurance Agency.
Mike, thank you very much. Enjoy that coffee, and we look forward to getting together with you next week, okay?
Sounds like a plan, sir. Be well.
Be well yourself. Thank you. Magic in the Morning with Good Policies, Barrett Insurance Agency, St. Johnsbury. Music from Harry Styles on the way. It's Colby Calais.